Coach, as always, would you mind starting us off with just some opening thoughts on tonight's game?
Yeah, I thought it was a extremely gutsy second half effort. I also thought it didn't have to be that way. I think we made it a little too hard on ourselves by some lack of energy in the first half. We didn't make a single X and O adjustment at halftime. We just talked about almost taking the fight to them more than just kind of, backing up. We knew what they were trying to run, and we were just letting them do it. So we played with a little more force and put them a little bit more on their heels in the second half. And that created some good energy for us to get some baskets as well.
And to start, we'll open it up with some questions. Ian, you can take it away.
Coach, just kind of getting back to, we talked about the opportunity to improve and get better today as opposed to last week. Overall, what are your takeaways from this two-game set now that your team's back to the 500 level?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing we learned, I think we learned it at Mount. Unfortunately, I hate losing and learning. It's better to obviously win and learn. Is you got to fight for the full 40 minutes in these games, right? Everybody's really the same, to be honest with you. And you lose, you could have one bad 4-minute stretch and all of a sudden you're down 10. And I thought, the second half of Mount, when we came back, our guys, finally realized how hard you got to play, right? We talked about, Ian, a lot of these guys, outside of Mikey Watkins and Dev Jensen, they came in and they played, anywhere from, 8 to 15 minutes a game last year, right? So all they had to do was come in, play hard for a minute or two. If something didn't go right, we would just come back in with an older guy. So they didn't really know, and you don't have non-conference games, you don't have scrimmages to kind of get some of that stuff out of you. So I think the biggest thing is, they learned, how hard you have to fight for a full 40 to get a win in any game, any level.
Ian, feel free to keep asking.
Last night, Mike Kell went off and he had a career high in 19. Today, Jordan Minor went. He had a pretty good game himself, finished with 20 points, 13 rebounds as well. He got into a little bit of foul trouble late. What did that kind of mean for you guys coming down the stretch, still trying to claw back into that ball game with 4 or 5 minutes left, and all of a sudden you lose your big man and leading for the duration of the game? Did that kind of change how you were going to work things with strategies or zones or coverages on the defensive end?
Well, we had and we had our backup 5 out in Ryan Isaacson. So we had Ziggy Reed playing the back line of our zone, which he's actually never played before. But, we went to a little more, with Minor in. They went a little bit smaller today, and we were able to take some advantage of some of that stuff in the paint with Minor, whether it was, on the glass or getting a switch and kind of just throwing it into the paint. But, we spread the floor more. They were not helping off Jensen, and after what Michael did yesterday, they weren't helping a whole lot off of him either. So we just kind of spaced the floor, ball screened, and Mikey 7 for 11 from the field. A lot of those coming off, turning the corner off of those ball screens.
Can you just kind of talk about Mikey's play late in that game? I mean, he did what he needed to do to kind of take over and be a leader when you needed him most, and made a couple of clutch shots, especially late. He had a nice finish with the left hand in between 2 defenders. And I was really impressed with his game today and how he kind of handled things in the last 2 games, specifically against this tough challenge from
and we talked to him about putting more on his plate, which we did this weekend. We knew they were going to deny a bunch, especially after the first 4 or 8 minutes of last night's game. So we put the ball in Mike's hands and kind of threw less perimeter passing and said, we need you to get in the paint and find somebody a shot. And then they stopped helping, and he was able to, he's a very good finisher with both hands. He's super fast, 18.6 assists, 6 turnovers. But, Javaris had games like that when we only had 4 as a team in the second half. He probably had 3 of the 4, but he also probably had the ball 80% of the half. So if our turnovers are low, that's something Mike will work on. He's been a 2 guard for us for 2 years now, and he's just starting to handle a lot of load at that point guard position. But I think he's playing as well as any point guard in the league right now, these last 3 games.
What was kind of the mindset for you guys as you got later on in the second half? You took a lead with 2 minutes into the ball game, and then you were playing for large portions of that game. What was the mindset of guys and the attitudes of everybody on the bench trying to just keep the positive energy and, just saying, hey, just keep clawing at this, there's still a lot of time left to play, and, how that was all handled?
Yeah, it was. I give FDU credit because I thought we were defending really well in the second half. We couldn't tie the game till about the 8-7 minute mark. We'd get it to 4, there'd be some type of loose ball, bang, dagger 3. It felt like they hit so many like late shot clock tough shots and never let us get the thing down to 2 or tied. And when we finally kind of tied, then it was like, okay, let's go now. There's 7 minutes left. We got a tie game. Throw everything out the window that happened in the prior 33, 34 minutes, and let's go win the game. And Jordan Minor was, I didn't even know his stats, to be honest with you, till looking at this. He was like our Ray Lewis in every huddle. He took a huge, huge step forward as far as his mental makeup. He just rallied everybody and gave everybody some energy in a time that we needed that to come from somebody besides a member of the coaching staff.
You guys had 40 points in the paint tonight as opposed to another poor performance from behind the three-point line. Have you guys kind of seen that as a coaching staff? Maybe you guys are going to start to transition and work the paint a little bit more? Or are you guys still trying to work and find the momentum and the timing and start getting guys better looks and hoping that things kind of start falling from behind?
Yeah, I was forward. Not really I didn't really think we took a bad 3. Like, some of the ones Jensen takes are a little deep, but those are what he does. Those other ones, Zig, it'd be different if you don't see guys coming in and working and you don't see them make them in practice. We see these guys make them daily. So, Zig had 4 really good looks and they didn't fall. And Jordan McCoy had 3 really good looks and they didn't fall. So I like that number of 23 3-point attempts. We'll get our paint stuff because, we're going to hit Minor on rolls. We're going to post them. Zig's going to get his paint. Mikey's been living in the paint lately, but I think you got to do both because, as you guys know, we're 5 for 23 from 3. We go 8 for 23, which still isn't a great shooting night, and we blow this thing open and we're up by 15. So I don't have a problem with a single 3-point shot that we took.
Kind of looking forward. Got Wagner, a quick turnaround. It's not a full 6 days. Excuse me, you got LIU next. Not a full week off. How do you guys kind of put this behind and still use it as a stepping stone and some teaching lessons I'm sure are going to come out of it, but how do you build off of this as you've now got back to 500 on the season moving forward?
Yeah, we'll give the guys a full day off tomorrow. So they're probably sick of being around us and don't want to see us. So we'll let them sleep in. We'll let them have a full day off to themselves. And then we'll come back in Sunday and get a lift in, watch some film, probably watch a little bit of this and start to take on our next opponent. But, we just talked to the guys in there. It's such a crazy year. Opponents are being switched because of shutdowns, and there's going to be times where you don't even know who you're playing until 2 days before. So you just got to handle your own business, and the color of the jersey and some of the names will change of these teams, but you just got to take care of yourself.